This is News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss of WDWNT.com. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell to make sure you never miss the latest from the Disney theme parks all around the world. Here now the news for January 10th, 2024. Disney has announced the closing date for the Country Bear Jamboree at the Magic Kingdom, as well as the reopening window for its new iteration, the Country Bear Musical Jamboree. The original Country Bear Jamboree will be closing the doors to Grizzly Hall on Saturday, January 27th to prepare for the transformation into the new show. The attraction will reopen with its new show later this summer, as Walt Disney has said at this point. The final day you can see the Country Bear Jamboree will be January 26th, 2024. That's a Friday. First announced back in September of 2023 during Destination D23, the new show will pull inspiration from the musical reviews of Nashville as the Bears reinterpret Disney songs in different genres of country music, including bluegrass, pop country, Americana, and rockabilly as well, and more. Disney also stated that the Country Bear Musical Jamboree will include Easter eggs from the beginning to the end, including a familiar tune fans may remember. And while the content of the show will be different when the attraction reopens this summer, only one bear will be getting a makeover. Liverlips McGraw will be given a new name and look into Romeo McGraw. Other characters in the show will still be present, including Henry, Big Al, Trixie, and others like the Sunbonnets. A show featuring Disney music was originally developed for Tokyo Disneyland's version of the Country Bears, but it was never implemented. At the same time, a Toy Story show featuring Woody's Roundup characters as marionettes was in development to replace the Country Bear Jamboree at Magic Kingdom. The idea was scrapped. I don't remember why that happened now. But anyway, eventually the plan was changed to have the Country Bear show with Disney music put in the Magic Kingdom instead. That was halted when the parks closed due to COVID, and a number of Imagineers were, we'll say furloughed, but many eventually laid off as well. In fact, former Walt Disney Imagineer Ethan Reed shared a post a couple months ago about first pitching the Country Bear Musical Jamboree almost 20 years ago. So this has been a long time coming. I've talked about this whole backstory, but we only have mere days left until the original Country Bear Jamboree, which debuted on October 1st, 1971, goes away. Obviously, I don't need to tell you, this is a moment of great historical importance, right? Mark Davis, one of the greatest Imagineers of all time, this was his baby. A lot of very talented people worked on this, and infamously, this has been called Walt's Last Laugh. On Walt Disney's final visit to Walt Disney Imagineering, or at the time, WED, his last visit ever, Mark showed him the storyboards for Country Bears, and Walt laughed and loved it. And then, Walt Disney left this earth just a few days later. So the Country Bear is such an important part of the Walt Disney World Resort. We have so much that is directly connected to Walt, and the bears are one of those things. They originally intended for Mineral King, but they made it to Walt Disney World. They've been in such an important part of this resort for over 50 years now, and I'm so glad they're getting to stay. And I've seen on social media, people are going wild over this, which, I have to wonder where these people were in 2019 when I was fighting to save the Country Bears the first time. I wonder where this passion was. It suddenly arrived the last 4 years. But we have to remember, there have been other Country Bear shows. The version of Country Bears, the original show, went away in 1986 with not really an intention of it ever returning. It did come back in 1991, but it left. It was gone, and people did not hate the Country Bear Vacation Hoedown. And certainly also there was the seasonal show, the Country Bear Christmas Special, which was beloved, right? So there have been other shows. People have loved these other shows. So why not let them, like I keep saying on the show, let them cook. Let them try. Let's see if another great Country Bear show can exist, and especially one, I'm really enamored with what they said in the statement, where they were clear that there will be homages from start to finish. So there will be a lot of returning dialogue, I think. There'll be some returning music, it sounds like. And that's enough for me, right? If it is a loving tribute that makes it relevant to a new audience and a younger audience, I think that's the right balance. So I'm really hoping they succeed with this. Because it's such an important attraction. I think the people working on it know the importance of that attraction, and how much pressure is on them at this point to deliver something special. And hopefully this summer they do, and we'll wait anxiously and see. But until then, you will probably find me at the Magic Kingdom continuously watching the Country Bears. In their Country Bear musical Jamboree announcement, Disney teased even more news in store for Frontierland at Walt Disney World. A short paragraph at the end of the announcement teased more exciting news to come. But hold your horses, we're not done yet. We have a lot of growth and investment planned for our theme parks in the coming years and look forward to sharing more announcements about Frontierland. So y'all come back now, you hear? First announced at D23 Expo in 2022, an expansion of Magic Kingdom was referred to as Beyond Big Thunder Mountain and has involved many possible blue sky additions, including lands themed to Coco, Encanto, and an entire area dedicated to Disney villains. At D23 in September of 2023, Chief Creative Officer of Walt Disney Imagineering Bruce Vaughn took to the stage to share some of the blue sky updates on the project, describing it as similar in scope to Pandora, the World of Avatar at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Vaughn also said that this will be the biggest expansion in the history of the Magic Kingdom. Of course, Encanto is off the table for Magic Kingdom at this point because it's instead being built supposedly also blue sky, but supposedly being built where Dinoland USA is currently at Animal Kingdom. The other side of this is maybe this means something else, because for me, Frontierland is not beyond Big Thunder Mountain, and obviously the worlds of Coco and Disney villains are not Frontierland. So, yeah, what does that mean? Does that mean existing Frontierland is going to change? The thing I always thought was the low-hanging fruit for expansion over all these years is Tom Sawyer Island and the rivers of America, right? Our river is it's not as good as the other ones, Disneyland's and Tokyo and Paris. And the rivers really, like the riverboat ride and the canoes and all, we don't even have the canoes. Our river's pretty dead compared to all the other ones, honestly. That land is ripe for expansion, right? And I think before you go out beyond the train, maybe it makes more sense to do something there. And that's Frontierland, right? The Tom Sawyer Island and the Rivers of America are Frontierland. And of course, the other thing that everyone's going to immediately talk about is Pecos Bill's Tall Tale Inn and Cafe. That's awfully close to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Are they going to retheme it and make it a New Orleans restaurant? Who knows? It seems logical, right? There are some that say the Pecos Bill source material is offensive at this point. And if they're going through the parks and trying to get rid of those things that they find are, maybe today in poor taste, maybe Pecos Bill. No, look, no one eating at Pecos Bill has any idea of those things, nor do they even know who Pecos Bill is, for that matter. I don't think anyone's eating those tacos sitting there going, man, this is an offensive restaurant. It's not happening. But it would make sense. I mean, New Orleans known for its cuisine. You're introducing a New Orleans area attraction. It's a great idea. It makes perfect sense. But the interesting thing is the rest of Frontierland, right? What is going to happen? What does it mean for Big Thunder, right? Because Tiana's Bayou Adventure is kind of in the way, on the way to Big Thunder, and you can't have a land. There's no Disney Parks land that starts, is interrupted by another land, and then starts again. So you can't have like the waterfront and Tom Sawyer Island, Frontierland, and then Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and then Big Thunder, right? You can't pick Frontierland back up at that point. But if you paved over the river, you could have Frontierland go around, right? It could go around that space. What would a new Frontierland area or attraction be? Who knows? In this IP era, they'd have to draw from something. And again, Woody's Roundup was all they had as an idea to replace Country Bears. So I don't know what they would do. But let the speculation begin. Maybe this is just referring to Beyond Big Thunder. But for me, talking about the future of specifically Frontierland, that means something's happening in actual Frontierland. The COVID-era park hopping restrictions have finally been lifted at Walt Disney World after 3 years. Guests with valid park hopper ticket options can now go from park to park at their leisure any time of day. When the Walt Disney World theme parks reopened in the summer of 2020 after the unprecedented closures due to the initial COVID-19 outbreak, park hopping was not even available. The option to visit more than one park each day wasn't reinstated until January of 2021, and it came with a caveat: guests had to wait until 2 p.m. to enter a second park. WDWNT reporters confirmed the park hopping process was back with no issues on January 9th. And after visiting our first park of the day, Magic Kingdom, by 8 a.m., we were able to hop to EPCOT when we arrived before 9 a.m. Guests with date-based tickets no longer need park pass reservations, meaning they will not have to pre-select which park they would like to start their day at. Annual pass holders and cast members will be able to enter the parks without a reservation on select good-to-go days later this month. To service park hopping guests, park-to-park bus service will now begin at 10 a.m. rather than 1:30 p.m. That is now in effect. Despite the return of that all-day park hopping, some guests trying to book Lightning Lane attraction reservations were still restricted to the previous 2 p.m. rule on the first day. This means that guests who park hop earlier in the day are unable to reserve a Lightning Lane return time for their second or third or fourth park until 2 p.m. Before that, they will only be able to use Lightning Lane at the first park. WWNT reporters spoke with guest relations at Hollywood Studios and were told that the restriction should have been lifted. Guests with valid park hopper tickets are supposed to be able to book Lightning Lane for any park at any time. They do not need to be in a specific park to do so. Guests encountering issues with their Lightning Lane reservations were advised to speak to guest experience team cast members found at the blue umbrellas around the parks, hopefully it's fixed by now. This program is brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, Be Our Guest Vacations. Your dream vacation begins with Be Our Guest and their concierge team of expert vacation planners. Head on over to beourguestvacations.com/WDWNT, and their team will design your next magical vacation, from the Walt Disney World and Disneyland resorts to the Disney Cruise Line to Adventures by Disney and more. They're also able to book unforgettable VIP tours where you and your group can experience the ultimate park day. And the best part is their concierge services are 100% free, so book today. The 3 new step-in photo ops for the 2024 EPCOT International Festival of the Arts have arrived at the park, allowing guests to capture unique photos inspired by Disney films past and present. All 3 of these photo ops are located on the Bridge to World Showcase. The Wish Storybook has 2 openings for guests to stand in and take a photo together. The pages read, "Look up at the stars and make a wish." The left side has the Kingdom of Rosas and a star, and the right side features Asha's goat friend Valentino. The forest scene from Sleeping Beauty photo op puts guests in the role of Briar Rose in the Once Upon a Dream sequence where she dances with her forest friends. The forest creatures are represented in the foreground, and guests can stand in the front of the forest backdrop to complete the photo. The final new photo op is pulled from the Jolly Holiday section of Mary Poppins, featuring the penguins. The penguins are included in the foreground, attached to the frame that guests stand behind. The backdrop includes Mary and Bert's tea time setup from the film. Speaking of photo, a new Fig-clair Figment Munchlings plush is arriving at Walt Disney World later this week for the International Festival of the Arts. And it's already here on my desk. Here it is. The plush will retail for $19.99. It's a limited release only available during the festival, which runs January 12th through February 19th. Figment is shaped like an eclair with purple frosting. His eyes and nose are embroidered, and tiny plush horns are attached to the top. A Fig-clair Figment Munchling pin also arrived earlier this month. Speaking of Figment pins, a new Pin of the Month series for 2024, Walt Disney World Parades has arrived, and the first pin in the series features Figment, the beloved purple dragon from Epcot's Journey into Imagination. The pin is $19.99, and what will make this series a parade set is the ring and hook at the front and back of each pin, allowing you to string them together and create a parade. The pin features Figment in his trademark yellow and red sweater. He's riding in the current vehicle for his attraction, Journey into Imagination with Figment. The pin also features the hills that mountain climber Figment ascends in the attraction, as well as his light bulb hot air balloon and a giant tube of rainbow paint. The pin has an edition size of 3,000. It's available at most locations that sell limited edition pins. Collectors of Disney die-cast vehicles now have a new addition to collect, a smaller version of the real-life Walt Disney World Guardians of the Galaxy bus featuring Rocket Raccoon and Groot. We found the new die-cast vehicle in the Creation Shop at Epcot for $17.99. The version of the bus that guests can actually ride debuted in 2019. This is interesting because I'm going to talk about die-cast Disney World buses for a second because my father's collected them for like 30 years. Usually they've made recreations of the actual Disney World buses, right? Like there's the old design. They did one when they changed to the new Disney Transport wrap. They've done annual ones every year. There's always one with the year on it. This is the first time they're doing these. So there are a load of wrapped buses with characters on them at Disney World now. If they're going to make all of these, that's crazy. Also, it's super cool. I think this is a really neat thing. More product of things that are actually in the parks, please. And certainly more toys of things that are actually at Walt Disney World. That's what we all want. Not only kids, but adults too. That's what we want. The Florida Department of Transportation, or the FDOT, has begun to regulate the Walt Disney World monorail system, according to a new report from News 6, just 8 months after Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill to allow inspections of the privately owned transportation system. An FDOT spokesperson shared with News 6 that work is now underway to implement the new law. Being that this is the first time that the state has had oversight, FDOT is doing its due diligence to thoroughly complete the review while ensuring the safety of travelers. The field inspections are being conducted by FDOT's Structures Maintenance Office, which oversees the inspection of bridges and other structures statewide. As part of the inspection process, Disney has shared their safety manuals and other existing documentation related to the monorails. Another aspect of the legislation is that FDOT must establish minimum safety standards for the operation of Walt Disney World monorails. According to News 6, this has not yet occurred. The department continues to work with Disney on necessary information for the non-structural portion of the monorail system. And per News 6, Disney has not sought to repeal the legislation and regulation of the Walt Disney World monorails in court. If you visited Walt Disney World in the past day or so, you may have spotted a new apparel offering called the Celebration Crew Sweatshirts. New reports indicate that these styles will soon replace Disney's Spirit jersey offerings, which are being phased out due to high costs. The new Celebration Crew sweatshirts feature similar traits to Spirit jerseys, with custom illustrations of Disney characters, all over print designs, and more. The new apparel even comes with its own tag and logo. Some of the Celebration Crew sweatshirts are priced at $64.99, which on average is $15 lower than the $79.99 price tag of a Spirit jersey. There have been more expensive ones, though, it's worth noting. According to sources, Disney's merchandising teams are slowly phasing out the Spirit jerseys as they have become too costly to manufacture, and guests are buying them less. As the Celebration Crews are a new offering, it could take some time before we see Spirit jerseys completely disappear. Even this week, new Spirit jerseys for both adults and youth were released. The Tiana's Foods water tower has finally been installed at Disneyland Park, marking a new milestone in the transformation of Splash Mountain into Tiana's Bayou adventure. Walt Disney World installed its own version back in June of 2023. In the story, the attraction, Tiana's Foods, is an employee-owned co-op establishment by Tiana in 1927, following the success of her restaurant, Tiana's Palace, which opened in September of 2023 nearby at Disneyland Park. The co-op is located inside of a salt mine, with growers planting their crops along the former Splash Mountain waterway. The water tower is located just to the right of the drop when viewing the attraction from the front, and during our visit, we spotted crew members working on the structure. At this year's Lunar New Year Festival and Disney California Adventure, guests will be able to meet Meilin and Ming from Turning Red. Meilin Lee, or May, is the protagonist of the 2022 Pixar animated film, and Ming Lee is her mother. Both have the ability to transform into giant red pandas. Though not confirmed, at least May is likely to greet guests in her panda form, as she already did at Shanghai Disney Resort. She will also appear as a panda in the Better Together, a Pixar Pals celebration parade, which will debut during Pixar Fest later this year. Neither a location nor schedule for the meet and greet has been announced, but Lunar New Year celebrations at California Adventure begin on January 23rd and run through February 18th. For the absolute latest on these stories and all that didn't make it into today's show, be sure to check WDWNT.com and follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can support the entire team behind this show and others by joining the WDWNT Interglobe Society at patreon.com/WDWNT. Get access to exclusive content, discounted show and event tickets, and more. And a special shout out to all of our WIGS members watching who make this show happen every week. For the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news, this is Tom Corliss saying, enjoy the rest of your today, and have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside as he and a panel of Disney superfans take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog. They'll tell you its history, details, and give their review, so you'll know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Wednesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube on WDWNT TV.